learnings आज आपके पास लेके आए हैं. We have an expert panel जो कि आपको इंडस्ट्री में 3 different industries से अपनी learnings आपके साथ share कर रहे होंगे. And we're really delighted to have with us Mr. Tariq Hamid Qureshi. Tariq Saab is former CCO of CxO Logistics. Then we have with us Mr. Umair Azam. He's a member board of directors of Integration Experts, a system enterprise system and IT company based out of Karachi with a nationwide footprint and having offices across the globe. Mr. Umair has 20 plus years of experience in IT and system integration. Thank you very much, Mr. Umair, for joining us. And then we will have with us Ma'am Shar Bano. She is GM and had digital customer experience at HPL. She too is an industry veteran and she has a 20 plus years of experience in IT and customer service design. Thank you very much, Ma'am Shar Bano, for joining us. To begin formally, मैं आपसे एक question पूछना चाहता हूँ, which is very important for students like me and other people watching us, कि आप इस इंडस्ट्री में कैसे आए, अपनी जर्नी से शुरू करें, and then what really motivated you to be part of the IT industry? I'm Shar Bano, अगर आपसे हम शुरू करें, please.
Okay, thank you, Imran. First of all, inviting me at this CxO platform and allowing me to express, not only express, but meet my few colleagues who have worked with, like Umair, and then meeting Tariq and all of you. And I'm happy that you guys are very well aware of diversity, so that your panel has a female. Usually in technology forums, females are not present most of the time in Pakistan scenario. And finding me out because I'm not very open in the market, that some people, so many people know Shar Bano as a CxO in the industry. Very few people knows me because I never brought myself outward. So finding me is another, I think, acknowledgement I would say. See, I was always been the person from my childhood who would go out of the box in everything. My parents must have been in difficult situation when I was child, because I used to explore things which they never thought that I should be going toward. So after intermediate, I thought there is some IT word coming in, Windows 3.0 and MIRC chat room and all of kind of stuff I've started hearing about. I said, why don't I try this instead, become doctor or somebody. So I took a diploma in computer science at that time, MCSC, very difficult course, and having it pass for a different, training center used to be there. We used to go, and I have learned how online exams are happening. So it was a journey to allow me to understand how the computer or technology industry at that time worked. And I am talking about 1996, 1997. So at that time, being aware, being a female of that field, I thought that this is a very good field and I think I should make a career out of it. After 2-3 years in different companies, like working with NCR, working with Arvintech, I've realized I'm not a developer material. I'm more of a business analyst, more of a technology design person, more of a service design person. Instead, I just sit and code because that was not the strength I had. So gradually for in short, 8 years, I worked with different technology companies in different roles. Since it was my start of career, so it was, learning phase. And then eventually I've realized that which is the industry where I can actually create things, because at vendor side, at technology companies, we look up to our customers and see what they want, what their customer may need, and we deliver the technology. But on the other hand, banking side, what we feel is we deploy things for our customer and real use cases are there. So I thought to move the industry, and I think I was lucky enough to join as non-banking expert in UBL, and I've spent 10 years. And it's been like 13 years, 4 years with UBL. I still don't feel that I'm a banker, but now I know banking and I know how these customers are served, and my technology background has helped me to design. So I was lucky and able to create a role of technology and customer services amalgamated in banking industry, which was different. People used to only think bank as a branch, but I think for channel development, for digital channel innovation, I really played well, and I am really happy that people knows me for that expertise. People used to think about the call center will go away in 20 years, but I always used to keep that this will evolve and this will be the backbone. And now you can see there's self-service and call center, no branches. So this concept has evolved, and I took part to create that concept. So this is my journey, and I still love technology and explore technology. I still feel that I am a person who has to learn a lot, and that's why. And most of the time, I just want to share my learning process that I do go to different technology shows just to learn what is new technology, who is doing what, how they're explore. I call vendor for demo, and even if it's not my project, I want to learn. So that's how I feel that I keep myself updated. So that's the learning I have, and this is my experience.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I really resonate with you on this, that we all need to be lifelong learners, because the concept really is gone that once you have a degree, it's really good enough, and your learning stops. It never stops really. Oh, Umair sir, same question to you. What brought to you IT industry, and what is keeping you there?
Okay, so you're taking me back really long. So yeah, I was studying, and it was like mid 90s, I would say, when I was asked to make a choice of what I want to study and where do I have to go. So I think that's when I decided to explore technology, because there was a time when computer engineering or software engineering was something which was very new. I had doctors and accountants in the family. I don't think I was the first one who decided to go into the computer engineering or software engineering, as you call it. And the reason why I decided to take this up was because I think it was something which was, I mean, since the age of 8 or 9, I was exposed to my first computer. And back then it was Commodore 64, and we used to play games on that. And, so I had some passion around that. And later on, I decided to make it my career. The reason, I think, मैं जिस I would say generation का, part हूँ उसमें, there has been, I think we've seen the major transformation, as far as technology is concerned. So I'm lucky to say that I've seen the floppy disks se leke, and now, carrying something like this, right? The entire office or your entire life on this. So I've seen both, in fact, the other day I was trying to have a conversation. I was, just teasing my son. I was showing him a floppy disk. I don't know, I found it in, some of my old stuff that was lying. And he was literally lost. What is this? Where do you even use this? So yeah, so technology transform hui hai ji, and I think we've been exposed to this transformation ourselves. I mean, I remember having my first phone when I was studying in the US. Probably that was 97. And it was a digital, large, big phone. And today, you see where we've come, and it's a long way that we've come this far. For me, technology is about changing the way we work, so I define it in a very, very simple way, right? So if you look at it, आज हम जिस तरह आज हम काम कर रहे हैं, या maybe आज से 20 साल बाद, when probably I am retired, and the next generation or my children are going to be in their professional fields, it's going to be completely changed. Now, who had thought 2 years ago, where just before COVID, that in a country like Pakistan, where coming to office is considered that आप कुछ काम करते हैं, otherwise जो घर में बैठ के कुछ करता है उसको हम consider भी नहीं करते थे कि वो कुछ करता है, right? So imagine the entire corporate sector. I know for a fact that I work very closely with HBL. I know that HBL did some amazing initiatives of ensuring that their people continued, जो आपकी continuation होती है, work continuation, they did some amazing work to ensure that their people continue to be productive and progressive. And they made some very tough decisions. I know for a fact that for a size of a bank like HBL, जिस तरह से उन्होंने transformation की है in adopting working from home culture. I mean, all of us. I mean, for that matter, myself. I've worked all my life almost in this country. So हमारे यहाँ तो concept ही नहीं था कि working from home कुछ होता है. So imagine how we've transformed our day-to-day operations. So I think children studying from home. My kids, they've studied. They literally have not been to school for almost 18 to 20 months, and they continue to study. They still progress. They still learn. So I think technology has played a big role. So like I said, simply it's how you work now. Technology just enables you to work better, to work more efficiently. So that's and for me, I keep technology very simple. So मैं कोई बहुत complexities में नहीं जाता. in a country like Pakistan, you have to use technology in the simplest way to ensure कि आपकी productivity or efficiency बढ़े. Because as a country, we're still not ready for a lot of complexities in technology, right? So I think हमें जो है वो technology को बड़े simple तरीके से adopt करना चाहिए और जो हमारी productivity है और efficiency उसको बढ़ाना चाहिए. I think that's my motto for being in technology and enabling my customers to do their job better, and to make their customers' life better and easier and more productive. So yeah, simple words. That's the definition of technology for me.
Thank you very much, sir, man. That I really loved it. That technology is how we live, whether we're living in our homes or in offices. And we have seen a complete 360 transformation in last 2 decades, even where from being 100% physical, we are going towards 100% digital interface. Moving on to Tariq. Tariq, your journey landing into tech space and then logistics and doing some amazing things in telecom sectors as well. And what's next for Tariq Qureshi post GT?
Well, I don't know what's next for sure right now. I'm definitely looking at a few different options. How I got into this journey was at the time I was in college in Canada. I ran into the Dean for Information Technology and I got to talking. Everyone was talking about IT, but I didn't really understand what it was. And he kind of convinced me, so I jumped into it. And then the minute I graduated, I decided I don't want to do anything related to IT because it was too much programming. So lo and behold, I was in Levi's for a year, and then telecoms were coming into Pakistan, and it really excited me. And I ended up getting into telecoms, and I was the 89th employee for Warid, jumped into launch their customer service. So we rolled out the entire call center. I set up a BPO for them. Then I moved to their international business side where I launched their international roaming partners and a platform in prepaid. So a lot of technology work in that area with engineering and software development. And then slowly and gradually, there was a lot of development in the international business area. I won't get into the details. Eventually, I was asked to join Ooredoo Qatar, and I took up that opportunity as a product development guy. So, जो IT की training होती है, or at least जो मेरी थी, that was more about translating business requirements to technical needs, and that is essentially what product development was. So, I really enjoyed my work at Ooredoo. For 2 years, I was working with 37 different nationalities because there are a lot of expats over there. So, I learned a lot. And it really groomed me into learning and how to work in a multicultural environment and how technology is being used in different parts of the world. And then there was a personal reason due to which I flew back, and then I started my own company called Bainbox Theory, which was essentially a technology company in education. That was an amazing journey for 2 years. Uske baad, I was given an opportunity to lead a company called Vendi, which is digital and smart vending machines, which are essentially on a network, and we can transact through multiple wallets, cash se leke, NFC se leke, apps ke through. And I was working for a company called WaveTech. They were one of the investors. So it was actually a very vertically integrated company. WaveTech had a subsidiary which would make the vending machines for us. Then they had a software development business unit which would develop the software for us. And then, it was VC funded. So my job was to, scale the business and improve the UI and the network. So I did that for 2 years, and then COVID hit and everything changed. And that's when I got an opportunity to work in Cheetah for the grocery business. I was talking to the CEO, who's an extremely smart human being, and I was very inspired by his vision. And I really wanted to learn about dark warehousing, fulfillments, the whole what the fuss is all about. So it was very interesting, and I jumped on. And at that time, they were just launching their luxury from scratch and rolling it out for the 18 months in 3 cities. We launched an ERP from scratch. Uske baad,
You're freezing your voice.
Sometime. Is it better now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you now.
I think that there was an internet issue. Where did I lose you?
Probably for the last 25 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, basically I was ending and I was saying, okay, this is where my journey has brought me now. Cheetah was an amazing experience. I learned a lot. And I want to deliberately take a few weeks before I jump into anything new. Ideally, I am considering something doing for myself. But obviously that does require a lot of time and a lot of analysis. You need to do a bit of market assessments. And I didn't think while working in Cheetah, I would have the time and luxury to do that. So these days which is actually very synonymous to this show. So when I was offered this, I thought it'd be pretty cool if I can come and talk about this stuff.
Well, that's great. We look forward to your venture next. Now coming to the emerging technologies, आप तीनों लोग 3 different industries को somewhat represent कर रहे हैं, probably more than 3 industries. So emerging technologies में अगर हम बात करें, I would say every road now is leading towards metaverse, may it be NFTs, Web3, crypto, ये सारे के सारे merge of AR, VR, ये सारी जो emerging technologies हैं, some are getting merged into the metaverse. So metaverse clearly is the future and the future is here. ये किस तरह से आपके businesses को affect कर रहा है metaverse या इनमें से कोई एक technology, और उसको किस तरह से आप leverage कर रहे हैं अपनी industry या multiple industries को transform करने के लिए? Again, मैं Shar Bano, अगर आप शुरू कर लें please.
देखिए, metaverse is relatively a very new name even for people to know. People generally the perception is that metaverse is Facebook new company who has now new branding kind of stuff. People don't know it's a technology, complete technology. But I think I will take a step back that if you are talking, since we are talking about our own, market, for this market, the metaverse is too far right now to adopt because we are not even evolved with how we are serving. Eventually, see, the technology has done one thing that made everybody realize that whatever you do, whichever tool you use, whichever technology you use, there is one strong element the thing has to revolve around, and that is customer. So are your customer ready for new technology? Are they really looking for, or something of immediate burning issue this technology can solve? Unfortunately, I see that in our market, Pakistani market, we are struggling with the basics again. We did evolve, but again, for example, load shedding and all of these small, basic fundamental things are not letting us even think about metaverse kind of situations and things. We are struggling even to keep the Zoom interaction or connection between us. So I'm not discouraging people, but that's the reality, that we are not yet ready for metaverse. But yes, in Pakistan, few things has really picked up, and it was surprisingly picked up. One, these virtual communication, video-based interaction, and secondly, online sales. Few years back, I used to think that selling clothes is an impossible thing online, because until you don't see the texture of it, you don't fit the size of yourself, you won't be able to buy, and per se shoes. But in recent research in Pakistan, I thought that all the brand companies and stores are now moving toward online, because they feel that the online shopping or online sales is better than the retail, because people are more attracted to that. So I think our e-commerce, online platforms, social media, and these virtual communication channels. Since I am a channel person, so I believe that these are fundamentally at the forefront. And I think for new businesses, for new companies, these things are to be the priority, because they are now not the excitement, they are basic needs for customer, for your online or any business, whichever you are doing, that these are available. And second trend, I'm seeing that marketing trends are changing from conventional marketing to the social media marketing. I see that huge shift in that. So when new companies are looking up for marketing strategies, they should think how 60% of their focus should be that how they will manage social media, instead how will they do the other marketing campaigns and communication. One simple campaign on social media gives you thousands of customers, instead you place an ad in newspaper. That's what I believe and have seen. And last but not the least, the age is now irrelevant for our customer and for our employees both. You can have a best employee of 16 years old, and you can have a best customer of 50 years old. People say that there's a Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. But I see this is a behavioral shift for everybody. Yes, the money lies between, 25 years to 45 years of the people who earn better and they are in the jobs, but they are spending on the necessities. The youngsters are explorer and the oldies are spender. And they want to explore. Both are explorer. This is how, I don't know, so many people may not agree to this, but I think this portion of 16 to maybe 11 to 25 years old and 45 to and above, they're all spenders. They explore, they think of money to be spending on something exciting which they don't know. So I think we need to see that shift in our customer base. And last but not the least, change is so quick. That the entire world is global village. So the change of emerging new concepts and new products and services, you really need to move fast on your product development, your product innovation. So it's typical kind of technology plans that, this year we will do this, the next year, 6 months, and you're gone. Next 6 months, something else. Next 6 months, something else. So the plan is that only make 6-month plan and wish for next 6 months that you stay on this plan. So that's it.
बिल्कुल आपने सही बात की. मैं IBM के चीफ इनोवेशन ऑफिसर को सुनना था, एंड ही सेड कंपनीज को ईयरली रिपोर्ट्स नहीं बनानी चाहिए, क्वार्टरली रिपोर्ट्स बनानी चाहिए. एंड यू नेवर नो कि एक साल के बाद वो कंपनी एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं कर रही हो. सो द रेट ऑफ चेंज इज सो फिनोमिनल. Thank you very much for your insights, ma'am. Sir, Umair, to you, emerging technologies, metaverse, everything, gaming, how this is transforming.
So so I'll say something, and I'll probably resonate with what Sharbano was saying, right? So I think we have to understand कि हमारी infrastructure जो आज situation है वो किन चीजों को support करती है, right? And I think these are I mean for example metaverse तो चले मैं अभी कहता हूँ कि it's probably not even being adopted in places like US and UK या ये जो आपकी developed economies है अभी वहाँ पे भी it's just being they're just scratching the surface on that, right? So I think it's way too early to say कि इसका what's going. It looks very promising. Of course, what's happening right now, NFTs और ये सारी चीजें जो हो रही हैं. I mean, yes, I mean, the world is moving very fast, and there is adoption that's happening. But I think in a place like Pakistan, जो मैंने आपसे बात की कि technology has to be simple to adopt. अभी तो हम उस stage पे हैं जहाँ पे हम बहुत सारी basic चीजों पे बड़ा struggle करते हैं. So we need to, but it should not stop us from exploring, right? It should not stop us from innovating. So as a company, अगर हम अपनी बात करें, we're going into many interesting areas where we're using a lot of AI and machine learning and machine vision technology to be used in the industry. So for example, we've built a product called Sensar, which is sense of retail, and the concept behind it is कि जी जो आपकी in-store जितनी retail sector में जितनी in-store analytics है, which means कि video feeds जहाँ से भी collect हो रही हैं, we use them to monitor the behavior of the customer inside the store. So from footfall to gender analytics to age analytics to sentiment analysis to the dwell time, impression time, and जो conversion है, from the number of people coming into the store and actually buying, we do all that using our technology, right? And it's all based on machine vision. We've built this completely indigenously in our own lab, and the product is now certified on very large technology companies of the world. Unke platform pe bhi certified hai. And we have large customers using it here in Pakistan as well. So one of the largest retail chains in Pakistan uses this across their stores, like almost 80-90 stores mein ye deployed hai. And they actually monitor their customer behavior using this, right? And it doesn't only give them customer behavior, वो उनको अपनी store की जो space management है उसमें भी बड़ा help करता है, because they get to see कि जी where is जो heat maps के through they actually find out कि customers कहाँ time ज़्यादा लगा रहे हैं, कहाँ time कम लगा रहे हैं. It is all in real time, so it's very useful. So I'm just saying कि हमें जो technology adoption है, technology development है, हमें अपने challenges को देखते हुए we have to build technologies कि हम अभी कहाँ खड़े हैं और हमने वहाँ से improvement कैसे लानी है. I mean, I'm going to say something here. Sharbano है, नहीं भी होती तो भी शायद मैं mention करता कि she took an initiative. I remember five years ago, Sharbano, where she was monitoring sentiment analysis of her customers using a technology that we deployed for them in the bank, a previous bank that she used to work at. Jahan pe she was actually monitoring the sentiment of her social media customers, her customers who were on social media and who were using their products, and she wanted to actually feel the pulse of that customer, right? कि customer social media पे क्या बात कर रहे हैं इनकी products के बारे में, इनके brand के बारे में, and she wanted to improve the customer experience, right? So anything which, because social media it spreads like fire, any good or bad spreads like fire, right? So आप अगर source को control कर ले तो आप बहुत कुछ manage कर सकते हैं जाके. So she envisioned this. We spoke to her, we showed her the product, she completely aligned with it, and she took that where no other bank or no other I would say customer experience, leader.
उस जमाने में बैंकों के social media pages भी नहीं होते.
Pages भी नहीं होते, exactly. So she took that initiative 5 years ago. So I'm just saying that, so technology provider का और जो customer, जो leadership है, उनकी alignment और convergence होना बड़ा जरूरी है. And we should not be just selling them a product. We should try to sell them a solution which is solving a problem. हमारे unfortunately अभी भी a lot of things are sold just because of the fact कि जी वो it's a buzzword, right? But you have to understand कि आपको technology को sell करना है which is giving some kind of ROI. ठीक है, तभी आपकी product की adoption भी होती है और उसका एक growth भी होती है. So I think for me, like जो आपका सवाल है, टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेशन पे बिल्कुल स्पेंड करना चाहिए, अडॉप्शन बिल्कुल होनी चाहिए, बट आपको अपनी ग्राउंड रियलिटीज को अंडरस्टैंड करते हुए करना चाहिए. आज I mean, for example, the amount of money that the banks are spending on digital adoption, digital apps पे जो काम हो रहा है या chatbots पे जो काम हो रहा है, I think that's the way forward because इनके जो customers हैं आज वही लोग हैं जो कि between the age of जो digital customer है वो because I cannot expect my mother to go on the mobile phone and maybe try to pay a utility bill, right? She will not do it. Maybe she will do it, but she will most probably not do it. But I know for a fact that my son would go and pay his cell phone bill or his mobile bill using he would never want to go to either an outlet of a mobile phone operator कि वो जाके वहां बिल जमा कराए या वो जाके किसी बैंक में खड़े होके अपना कोई बिल, because they're not in tune to this, right? They're not going to think like that. For them it's a lot of waste, it's a waste of time, right? Doing this, standing in the line. How many times have we seen where we travel, the kids know how to bypass the lines, they get some kind of code. I mean, I'm going to tell you the amount of money my kids save on Food Panda. I'm sorry I'm taking the name of a brand, but Food Panda पे जितने पैसे वो बचाते हैं मुझे तो समझ ही नहीं आता वो कोड कहाँ से लाते हैं, कैसे करते हैं, क्या करते हैं. And they use all my कभी वो मेरे फलाने कार्ड का कोड यूज कर रहे हैं, कभी कुछ यूज कर रहे हैं, but they know how to do it because they're so connected with each other that they know how to save money. All the messages pass through. I mean, I am a technology guy.
11 से 25 की एज जो है वो
You're absolutely right.
45 से 70 की एज वालों को देखें, they are more.
I mean, I'm sure all the people sitting here, they all have kids. Amount of money I've spent. ये COVID के अंदर, the amount of money I've spent on V-Bucks and Robux. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, every day, every second day, somebody, you had to go spend, digital currency on this. I mean, my 10-year-old or 11-year-old would come and say, tell me, V-Bucks chahiye, to pata nahi kabhi Robux chahiye, kabhi kuch chahiye. So they're so enabled on technology. And these are the guys who are going to hopefully change the environment in this country, and we should be hopeful. I'm generally an optimist. And I feel that things are getting better and they will get better. The adoption will become much better in this country. And we're seeing some amazing things happening already, right? So that's my take on that.
Thank you very much, Umair sir. This is really helpful. That हम टेक्नोलॉजी, इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज को देख रहे हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सपोर्ट भी देखना है कि कहाँ पे कॉर्पोरेट लेवल पे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सपोर्ट अवेलेबल है. लेकिन जिसे आपने ही कहा कि हमारे बच्चे रोब्लॉक्स खेल रहे हैं, रोब्लॉक्स पे पेमेंट कर रहे हैं, रोब्लॉक्स, फेसबुक, दे ऑल आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स मेटावर्स. टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत तेजी से इवॉल्व हो रही है एंड जो फ्यूचर का रेट ऑफ चेंज है वो पास से बहुत ज्यादा होएगा. तो हमारे इस डिस्कशन को स्पार्क करने का एक पर्पस ये भी है कि अगला रेट ऑफ चेंज इस पिछले से ज्यादा होएगा, तो कॉर्पोरेट्स बहुत जल्दी से रेडी हो जाएं, बिकॉज जो मेटावर्स का अडॉप्शन कर्व है बहुत रैपिड होगा, बिकॉज वो ये एग्जिस्टिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज ही बहुत तेजी से मर्ज हो जाएंगी और ट्रांसफॉर्म करेंगी मेटावर्स या और डिफरेंट इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज में. तारिक भाई, कमिंग टू यू, योर टेक ऑन इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज, AI, AR, VR और फिर सारा चेन लीडिंग अप टू मेटावर्स. What's your take?
Yeah, so the way that I understand the metaverse, it's basically augmented virtual reality using a bit of AI, creating a parallel universe, for lack of a better word. I totally agree with Bano and Umair that we are still in our infancy, far from it being a day-to-day usage for anyone. However, and I also agree with the fact that it has to really be solving a problem, or it has to really have an impact in your day-to-day life for it to really resonate with people in Pakistan. I don't agree with the fact that we're very far behind in Pakistan, because sometimes you notice that certain countries can leap forward to a first world countries scenario much faster than others, but because of technology. We saw that with quick commerce, just now Panda ka bata rahe hain, a lot of other things as well. So I'm hopeful that we will be able to do it when it's a reality. One industry where I do see the metaverse working really well for us with our intrinsic challenges and handicaps is the medical tech and health tech area. Uske andar, I think we have very limited doctors and nurses, and we have a huge country, a lot of rural areas. So it'd be really cool to see something coming in that area, and I would love to see someone funding it and solving this problem for us. I think this is something that actually can be used. But Pakistan ka jo ek challenge hamesha se raha hai, and I really hope that someone solves this problem in the metaverse era, is the design thinking behind it. Ke hamare jo log hain, they're not going to be very tech savvy. You need to create something which they can easily adopt and easily jump into. It shouldn't be very complicated, not a lot of clicks, not a lot of words written, more visual. अगर इस तरह का कोई एक प्लेटफॉर्म वो बना देंगे, मुझे काफी हद तक I would really look forward to it. And I think ये जो health और medical वाला area, इस वाले के अंदर जो है ना, सबसे ज़्यादा इसमें पाकिस्तान के अंदर usage हो सकता है, followed by education. But I think medicine and health would be my front runner for this.
Absolutely, I agree with you. In my humble opinion, Tariq, बिल्कुल adding to medical education is another field जहाँ पे metaverse बहुत बेहतर role play कर सकता है. I can cite an example कि जहाँ पे अब STEM education के लिए you need physical labs, robots चाहिए. Whereas अगर वही एक virtual environment के अंदर you can create robots at a very fraction of a cost, और वो physical equipment भी नहीं चाहिए. All you need is screens. So education में it is also coming up.
सॉरी मैं आपको काट रहा था. एजुकेशन में हमारा मसला थोड़ा फर्क है. एजुकेशन में हमारे जो अनएजुकेटेड 25 मिलियन लोग हैं, the stat might be a few years older, but you know, I remember in 2016 we had 50 million people who fell between the age of 5 to 25. जिसमें से 25 million were educated, 25 didn't even have access to it. The problem that we need to solve in education is how to get those people who don't have the money for education to get educated without it being an NGO-led or something else. So I don't think technology would really be solving it. Someone needs to come up with a way to disrupt education and schooling in a way कि गांव के अंदर भी कोई जाके इतना स्कूल खोल सके, बेशक दिन के 1000 रुपए के खर्चे में, और वो वहां से 2500 कमा के अपने 1500 रुपए का जो उसने दिन के कमाने वो कर ले. तो जब कोई बंदा इस तरह सोच के कर सकेगा, in my humble and very basic opinion, I think that is the problem we need to solve. Metaverse और ये सारी चीजें बहुत ज़्यादा आप टेक्नोलॉजी डिप्लॉय कर देंगे और उसमें मसला ये होएगा कि उसके रिटर्न्स नहीं आएंगे क्योंकि उनके पास तो पैसे नहीं है देने के लिए. सो वो एक सिर्फ इसमें चैलेंज होगा. हाउएवर फॉर हेल्थ एंड मेडिसिन उसमें ये है कि इट्स वेरी inelastic and also uske andar you can really people will be willing to pay money for that, and you could probably make it slightly cheaper than what they would pay in the hospital anyways, because the logistics cost has jati hai and stuff like that. So uske andar I just think the value addition might be a lot sooner, and then it can be followed by education, inshallah.
बिल्कुल ठीक है सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच तारिक भाई.
Imran, just wanted to add, you are talking about metaverse. You didn't talk about drones. You didn't talk about green companies I'm very proud, and I would like to mention HBL about that. HBL is striving to completely work on green in different initiatives. So maybe there are other companies who are converting into greens through technologies and all of these. And additionally, we have recently launched a product that was development finance, which is like which is not known to people, but where we give loans to farmer, and bank is taking part in their entire farming. We call it farm to fork process, and from seeing the seeds and then harvesting and then getting it to market. In one of the step is that when the farmer has to do the ये जो chemical का छिड़काव करते हैं और ये सारा कुछ, the drone inspect the field और उसको drone का छिड़काव भी यूज करते हैं, तो उसमें वो बड़े सारे उन्होंने टेक्नोलॉजी के एस्पेक्ट यूज किए है। तो वो सिंपल सी एक किसान की जो है ना जमीन की तैयारी, उसके ऊपर उसमें बीज बोना, लेकिन सब में टेक्नोलॉजी का स्टेप बाय स्टेप यूटिलाइजेशन, और एक टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं मल्टीपल टेक्नोलॉजी. So I think I would agree to Tariq that there's a disruption required of thinking process from fundamental to new ways of doing business. This will work. So I just wanted to add. I'm sorry for interruption.
No worries. यही पर्पस है एग्जैक्टली मैम कि हम वो डिबेट स्टार्ट करें, वो डिसरप्शन लाए थॉट प्रोसेस में भी, और नए आइडियाज, नए सीड्स प्लांट करें थॉट के अंदर, ताकि वो ट्रूली डिसरप्शन कोई करे यहाँ से लीड लेके. दैट्स कोर पर्पस ऑफ दिस गैदरिंग. वी आर रनिंग शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम एज वेल. मैं फाइनल क्वेश्चन ये पूछना चाहूँगा. वी जस्ट रिकवरिंग आउट ऑफ कोविड से इकोनॉमी अभी पूरी तरह से रिकवर नहीं करी. मुनीर नालवी का शेर है कि एक और दरिया का सामना था मुझको मुनीर, मैं एक दरिया के पार उतरा तो मैंने देखा. तो नाउ ड्यू टू यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट it is anticipated that the world is heading towards a recession, a global recession. So is COVID recovery say moving towards a recession, global recession? Technologies को आप कैसे देखते हैं? टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे हेल्प करेगी हमें इस रिसेशन को फेस करने में, जहाँ पे ग्लोबल हंगर क्राइसिस भी आ सकता है, इकोनॉमिक रिसेशन भी एक्सपेक्टेड है. तो इस सारे सिनेरियो में आपकी इंडस्ट्रीज, आप उसको किस तरह से देखते हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी को किस तरह से देखते हैं कि यहाँ पे हमें हेल्प कर रहा होगा? ये मैम शर बानो आपसे हम शुरू करें.
अच्छा, पिछली दफा भी जब रिसेशन आया था 2008 में, उसमें मैं यही सोचती थी कि पाकिस्तान की बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री तो ठीक चल रही है, हमें कितना फर्क पड़ा या नहीं पड़ा. एंड बाय द ग्रेस ऑफ गॉड उस रिसेशन में पाकिस्तान की एटलीस्ट बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री वाज वेरी साउंड, सॉलिड ऑन द ग्राउंड, और हमें शायद उस तरह फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में इतना इम्पैक्ट नहीं पड़ा था. ये मेरी असेसमेंट है, मे भी हो सकता है इकोनॉमिस्ट थिंक ऑफ डिफरेंट वे, मैं तो एक कॉमन बैंकर के तौर पे आपको बता रही हूँ. एंड हमारे अच्छा जो तारिक का कहना है कि जी डेवलप कंट्रीज और फिर वो अंडर डेवलप कंट्रीज लीप ऑफ फेथ, हमने हमारी बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री ने पिछले 10-15 साल में बहुत तरक्की की है, एंड अडेप्शन टू द टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड डिजिटलाइजेशन. और अभी तो डिजिटल बैंकिंग के लाइसेंस वाली सिलसिला भी स्टेट बैंक ने शुरू किया, रास्ट प्रोग्राम भी शुरू किया. तो इंडस्ट्री ने इवॉल्व किया और अडॉप्ट करने की कोशिश की और लीप भी लेने की कोशिश की है कि जो लोग ऑलरेडी इंडस्ट्री इकोनॉमी दुनिया में हो रही है उसके साथ मिलकर चलें. बट मुझे ओवरऑल लगता है कि पाकिस्तान जो है ना, वो कभी कभी होता है कि पीछे रहने का फायदा हो जाता है. तो वो उसमें ये होता है कि जब आप रिसेशन की जो थीम है ना, अगर उसके ऑलरेडी पीछे, तो आपको इफेक्ट आने में बहुत देर लग जाती है. सो हमारे अपने फंडामेंटल इश्यूज ज्यादा हैं वर्सेस मुझे लगता है कि ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी का. हमें शायद पेट्रोल या इसका कोई इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है तो वो एक डॉलर और उसके ऊपर पड़ता है, बट हमारी अपनी पॉलिसीज या हमारी अपनी जो द वे वी ऑपरेट इन दिस मार्केट, उससे ज्यादा फर्क पड़ता है मुझे लगता है. अब उसमें ये टेक्नोलॉजी तो बहुत जबरदस्त रोल प्ले करती है. अगर आपने टेक्नोलॉजी, जो उमैर ने शुरू में कहा था कि सही जगह सही टेक्नोलॉजी यूज की हो, तो थोड़े पैसों में भी यू एक्सपोनेंशियली ग्रो योर बिजनेस. लेकिन अगर आपने सिर्फ टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर द सेक ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी या ट्रेंड लगाई है, तो फिर वो आपको कोई फायदा आ रहा है तो दे नहीं रही है. तो हर इंडस्ट्री में देखने की जरूरत है. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने अभी जैसे आपको बताया कि जो एग्रीकल्चर है, if in agriculture technology is used, you can grow more crops. You don't need to be worried about your hunger issue or shortage of food issue. आपकी prices नीचे आ सकती हैं अगर ज्यादा फसलें होंगी, ज्यादा अवेलेबल होगी. I think वो एक बहुत अरसा पहले एक प्रोग्राम आया था कि उस पे आया था, डिस्कवरी पे आया था, I don't remember the name, but उसमें उन्होंने बताया था कि let population grow, don't worry about कि दुनिया में आबादी बढ़ रही है, worry about per hectare, growth of your agriculture, energy, वो जो जैसे सोलर पैनल्स हैं, अब ये भी एक टेक्नोलॉजी है, इसके अगर आपका लोड शेडिंग का इशू है, कन्वर्ट इनटू अदर टेक्नोलॉजी व्हिच कैन गिव यू मोर बेनिफिट. तो आई थिंक ये बहुत बड़ा एक एक्चुअली इकोनॉमिक लेवल का सवाल आपने पूछ लिया. हम अपने लेवल पे ये कह सकते हैं कि हम इस बारे में सोच सकते हैं, एजुकेट कर सकते हैं, और जहां हमसे मशवरा लिया जाए या जब हम कहीं कोई इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हो अपने अपने लेवल पे, तो वी सी के हाउ मच दिस कैन इन लेसर कॉस्ट, हाउ मच दिस कैन गिव अस द प्रोडक्टिविटी. और वो सेक्टर देखें जो कि इकोनॉमिक, क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक इंडिकेटर ठीक नहीं होते तो फिर सारी छोटे छोटे एसएमई बिजनेस तो बेचारे बीच में फिर रह ही जाते हैं. छोटी छोटी फिनटेक्स जो है वो बाहर भी नहीं आई होती, उनकी सीड मनी जो वो खत्म हो जाती है, दे हैव टू क्लोज. तो ये चीज देखने की जरूरत है कि आइडिया से मसला नहीं है, मसला उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Bano. Sir, your take on post-COVID and hitting restrictions, preparing for a recession.
So I think देखिए post-COVID के कुछ benefits भी हुए हैं और कुछ of course drawbacks भी हुए हैं. So benefits तो ये है कि of course the technology adoption has really gone into the top gear, right? So चाहे वो छोटी organization है या बड़ी organization है, they've gone into this serious technology adoption where they're trying to bring agility in the organization. ठीक है ना? Mobility and agility has been the main focus of COVID, right? Post-COVID कहने का. I think the downside of that is कि उससे हुआ ये कि because the organizations or the large corporates have started to adopt, I think हमारे यहाँ जो एक थोड़ा सा challenge है जो मैं as a country, because I've been in this industry for 20 plus years now, हमारे यहाँ ना again I feel कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Some people may not agree with me, but I think the fact of the matter is कि जिसका business है ना वो उसको वो करना चाहिए. So as a technology provider, I should be providing technology, whereas my customers should be trying to. So if it's a telecom, they should be focusing on improving their infrastructure. Their money should be spent on improving their customer experience, right? Rather than कि वो 200-500 आदमी की technology team बना के they start supporting their internal needs. So I think हमारे यहाँ ये trend है. So अभी उसका जो downside है वो ये है कि for companies like us are suffering majorly because suddenly जो एक boom आया है technology adoption का, all the big players are just taking your people away, right? And जो लोग हमने 2 साल 3 साल 4 सालों में build किए थे and we were going to reap benefits out of those guys, we invested in them, they suddenly have been they've been swept away by these large corporates. Now honestly, I think so ये downside है, of course, for players like us, but at least मैं इसको positively ये देखता हूँ कि at least people are able to make, there's more competition, there's more need, there's more the wheel is moving, right, which is good, right? So now it has given me a new area or new focus कि जी I want to go into building people. देखिए पाकिस्तान में जो सबसे बड़ा challenge आज है ना वो ये है कि हम, and because we're on this forum, I think it's a big जिसे कहते हैं ना एक disillusioned एक image है कि हम 220 मिलियन लोगों का मुल्क है और हमारे लोगों में yes potential बहुत है, but आज मैं आपको बोलूँ technology में you cannot find people. If I have today a need of easily selling 200 people across the border, across the world, I don't have 200 people जिनको मैं और basic technologies की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, जो top world technologies like SAP and Oracle and Salesforce and Microsoft, वो लोग ही नहीं है मार्केट में, पाकिस्तान में उतने लोग ही नहीं है जिनको मैं जाके मार्केट में पोजीशन कर सकूं. So I personally feel कि आज जो नीड है हमारी, आपने वॉर की भी बात की, बाकी चीजों की बात की, यूक्रेन वॉर, countries like Ukraine were just exporting their technology services. One of their biggest areas of exports was technology services, is because they focused on it. तो हमने तो फोकस ही नहीं किया ना. हम 25,000 बच्चा हर साल निकलता है जिसमें से 3 या 4,000 जो है ना वो एम्प्लॉयबल है, बाकी तो एम्प्लॉयबल ही नहीं, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट इनेबल्ड ऑन द न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज, राइट. सो आई थिंक हमें ओवरऑल जो है ना वो अपने प्रोसेस को एक ओवरऑलिंग की जरूरत है हमारे पूरे प्रोसेस को, एजुकेशन से लेके, और यू नो देयर हैज टू बी अ कनेक्ट बिटवीन एकेडेमिया एंड द इंडस्ट्री, right, where the industry should be telling the academia कि उनको क्या लोग चाहिए, what is the need of the industry. And you know, I am to be blamed for it too. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I've never gone back to academia and, you know, forged any partnerships to tell them कि मुझे इस तरह के लोग चाहिए. But now I think I've realized it. We're going to go big on enablement and training. So our plan is to train anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 kids every year straight out of college and enable them on the new technologies. So that's our plan, starting, you know, this year. So July, August, we're going to be launching our training academy, and that's the plan. And we're going to enable them on the world technology, you know, the global technologies की need है, उस पे हम enable करेंगे, not the need that we have in Pakistan, but global technology, right?
Thank you very much, Umair bhai. This is a complete topic, and we can have a complete session on built on this. Since I work with universities, I can resonate every single word that you've just spoken. That the quality is not there. पाशा को अगर आप देख रहे हैं, वो भी यही सेम कंप्लेन कर रहे हैं कि जो ग्रेजुएट्स हैं वो क्वालिटी नहीं है, स्पेशली आईटी सेक्टर के अंदर. एंड देयर इज अ ह्यूज गैप बिटवीन इंडस्ट्री एकेडेमिया, जो बहुत सारी बातें तो हो रही हैं. बट यस, वी आर लॉन्चिंग ए प्रोग्राम. आपके साथ मैं बाद में ऑफलाइन बिल्ड करूंगा. वी लव टू कोलैबोरेट विद यू टू टेक यू टू लॉट ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटीज. Tariq sir, coming to you, same question. How do you see the coming anticipated recession and Pakistan's preparedness?
Well, keeping aside the economic contributors, which I'm not an expert on, I first want to really appreciate Umair's point about going to the people and training and developing them. I think it will always come down to people in any country, in any organization. If you take the time out and you train them and you develop them, irrespective of how it's going to impact in the short term, that just changes the entire ecosystem. And I think recession is, they'll come and go. Different countries and different societies view recession very differently. If in my limited experience, if I go abroad, there are a lot of countries that actually start taking advantage of a recession. In Pakistan, I think it becomes slightly different. वो recession आ गई तो सारे बैठ जाते हैं कि यार अब तो 1-2 साल ऐसे ही हैं. Rather than, you know, there is a lot that can be done during the recession time. And exactly उसी area के अंदर you need technology the most. And you need people who know technology the most. Right now, I think if we had a very good technology backbone, we could have really taken a huge advantage of this recession, because out of all English-speaking nations, Pakistan can give you the best cost right now because of the devaluation. So, you know, if you have that many people, I mean, the world is our oyster. The other thing is we're not very good collaborators. So one company will not collaborate well with another company. That is one thing that, in my humble opinion, we need to look at and change. And the third thing is we're not very quality-driven. I don't know, Umair can probably comment more on this, but all the feedback that I've gotten about Pakistani companies working in the technology area, most actually cut corners and are not very quality driven. And, you know, it doesn't develop a very long-term name for Pakistanis abroad. And I think there are certain industries jiske andar word of mouth and quality and how the entire, even one company in the nation is working, changes the impact. Like take Sialkot, for instance. The sporting good industry, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Let's hope it just keeps growing. It keeps getting it back. And I'm very sure it's because of quality. I'm very sure they must have had some sort of lobby there. Why are we going there? You know, there must have been other companies or countries that must have come in. But I think they never compromised on that. And that is exactly what technology needs to do in Pakistan as well.
I think, Usman, just last point I'd like to add to Tariq, and I think it circles back to my point of, building people, based on the global needs, right? So, jo aapne Sialkot ki baat ki, and, how they keep bringing it back. I think the reason is that, they probably have brought in a setup or an infrastructure that fulfills the need of those global standards, right? So, and that is what I was trying to say, कि we need to build people जो के दुनिया को चाहिए, ना कि आप build वो लोग करें जो आपको locally चाहिए, because locally आप अभी भी बहुत पीछे हैं in terms of technology, right? Yes, adoption हो रही है, सब कुछ हो रहा है, but मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, we cannot find people. I mean, yes, there are thousands and thousands of profiles that are available, but when you go and actually dig deep, आप शायद 2% भी लोग जो है ना वो hireable नहीं निकलते हैं, for the role that you're looking for. Of course, they're hireable. I'm not saying कि उनको काम नहीं आता है, लेकिन उस level का नहीं आता जिसको आप build कर सकते हैं या जिसको आप sell कर सकते हैं abroad. So my vision is that I think whether it's going to give us a short term or a long term return, we have to do this as a national duty also, to ensure कि जी हम लोगों को build करें जो कि अपना future बना सकें technology space में. And आप जितनी आप ये हम सारी अभी बात हो रही है, वो आपका payment deficit है of all of that. The easiest way to fill that gap is to increase your technology exports, right? आप अपनी technology export बढ़ा लें, और सबसे आसान तरीका, आपने 6 महीने 1 साल बच्चे को ट्रेन करना है. Imagine if you train 100,000 kids and every kid starts bringing $500. मैं ज्यादा पैसों की बात भी नहीं करता, $500 भी वो महीना लाना शुरू कर दे. Imagine the amount of money that you generate. So you have to think, you have to break your larger goals into smaller goals and don't think too big. आप छोटे steps लें, baby steps लेके चलें, you will reach there eventually. ठीक है, आपके neighbors जो हैं, their technology export is $148 billion. ठीक है, आपकी total export जो है वो $25-30 billion से आगे नहीं बढ़ पाती. ठीक है, उसमें technology जो है वो शायद 2-2.5 billion है. सही है. So I mean, and what Tariq said, you're in the best spot today, right? Because of the devaluation, ठीक है, it's negative for us, but at least, जो चीज आपके लिए जब challenge बन जाती है तो उसको अपना strength बना लें. ठीक है, जो चीज आपकी weakness है, you can easily convert it into your strength, right? आप उस पर थोड़ा सा काम करने की जरूरत है, and you can change the whole scenario for yourself. Right.
Absolutely. उमर भाई, अगर आपकी बात को आगे बढ़ाऊं, इंडिया की सॉफ्टवेयर एक्सपोर्ट्स सऊदी की ऑयल एक्सपोर्ट से बढ़ गई हैं और वो एंड ऑफ लाइफ की तरफ है. दिस इज जस्ट द बिगिनिंग. सो दैट्स वेयर द फ्यूचर इज कि अगर हम आईटी एक्सपोर्ट्स को बढ़ाते हैं, दैट्स वेयर वी कैन ओनली वे वी कैन सर्वाइव. हमारे पास ऑयल एक्सपोर्ट्स भी नहीं है और कोई ऐसी चीज भी नहीं है कि हम एक्सपोर्ट्स बढ़ा सकें. और जो तारिक भाई ने कहा क्वालिटी, आई वाज लिसनिंग टू द कंपनी जिन्होंने फीफा का फुटबॉल बनाया है, and that's very, वो एक बहुत सिंपल से humble CEO, and he said we had a vision कि हमने दुनिया में नंबर 1 बनना है. We made the best practices, best quality principles, and we stick to that. और best हम compromise ही नहीं कर सकते if we aspire to be the number 1 in the world, अगर वो position maintain करनी है. With this, I would like to wrap up. Thank you very much to all 3 of you. It was a great learning session for me, and I believe CxO की audience के लिए भी it would have been a great learning session. हमने बहुत सारी thoughts spark किए हैं आज. आप लोगों ने स्पेशली मैम शार, बानो, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. सर उमैर आपका, तारिक आपका बहुत शुक्रिया. We've just started this discussion and इंशाल्लाह अगले सेशंस में हम इसको बिल्ड कर रहे होंगे, बिकॉज टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत बड़ा डोमेन है और इसमें द गोल कैन बी $150 billion एक्सपोर्ट्स लाइक द नेबर्स. और वहां पहुंचने के लिए भी बहुत सारे लोगों को मिल के सोचना है और फिर मिल के काम करना है. थैंक यू वेरी मच टू ऑल ऑफ यू. Really humbled, and thank you very much CxO Forum.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
Audience, have a great day. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.